Hey, what's up guys, it's Banu here from Andro.com. WWDC 2020 just wrapped up like a few minutes ago. It's currently 12:35 in the morning here in Sri Lanka. I'm making this video to let you guys know about the latest updates from Apple with iOS 14, macOS, Big Sur, watchOS 7 and all of the other amazing stuff they dropped at WWDC 2020. Over the years I've watched almost all the WWDCs and I think by far this year is my favorite, not only because they were able to pull off a great event in a smooth and seamless way, but also they brought out some of the most asked features that we have been waiting for, like widgets on iOS. So without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and start talking about everything Apple unveiled at WWDC 2020. If you guys are new to my channel and if you guys appreciate the effort, go ahead and smash that subscribe button right now and share this video with your friends because that would help this channel out a ton. Let's get started with today's video. I want to start talking about WWDC with that killer intro video they had. I mean, throughout the WWDC this time around, they had some amazing shots, especially with drones. So they did a really good job with the production here with WWDC. This time, even though they didn't have anyone there in person, I think when they delivered an online event, I think they delivered it really well. And I personally wouldn't mind if they continue to have the events like this because it wasted so little time because they were right on point and everything just worked. So that was really awesome. So I just wanted to mention that before we get started with anything. Now let's start talking about all the amazing announcements, starting off with iOS 14 coming to your iPhone. The first time Apple actually played that video during the keynote and showed off that video with widgets on the home screen of the iPhone, the Android fanboy inside me just jumped in joy because this is something that we have been requesting from Apple over a long period of time. If someone asks me the best thing that Apple announced at WWDC 2020, I think my answer is gonna be widgets on the home screen because this is a feature that I've been waiting for a long time. So that's awesome that it's there. And also Apple is now introducing something like a app drawer. Now we can easily categorize whatever applications that we have on our system, and Apple will also make suggestions as well as we can easily find whatever applications that we want with iOS 14. And on the home screen, we can set something called a smart stack, which will automatically change based on what time of day it is. So I think that's going to be really awesome. Also, full picture-in-picture mode is now coming to iOS 14. And what I like here is that the audio is going to keep playing even if you just push the video out of the screen. So even without the video, if you just want to get the audio, you can get it done with picture-in-picture mode with iOS 14. Siri is also getting a major redesign this time around with a redesigned UI, and now it's not going to actually take up your entire screen, which is something that I actually wanted for a very long time, because right now whenever I want Siri to come through, it takes up my whole screen, so it messes up everything that I am doing at the moment. So this time with iOS 14, Apple is integrating a compact design, and Siri is now able to answer more complicated questions, and also you can do translations as well as send audio messages with the use of Siri. Talking about translations, Apple also dropped a translation application that actually has some cool features, so I'm really excited to try that out as well when it comes. However, Sinhala language support is not here at launch, but hopefully down the line Apple will add that into the system. Apple also did some major changes to the messaging app on iOS, and they have introduced pinning messages, improved Memoji support, inline reply, and extremely powerful improvements to group. So I think if you're not a fan of Apple messages, you might be after this release. Apple also made some cool improvements to Apple Maps, but unfortunately Sri Lanka is not one of those countries that has full support for Apple Maps, so I personally am still not going to try Apple Maps until full support comes through, because Google Maps has almost everything at the moment. So until full support comes through to Sri Lanka, I think I'm gonna stay away from Apple Maps for now. However, I like the fact that they added cycling mode to Apple Maps. I think they have implemented it really well this time around. Another cool thing Apple showed off with Apple CarPlay is that now you can use your iPhone as the car key without actually using your car key. With new cars coming, Apple actually showed this functionality off with the new 2021 BMW Series 5. I think this is the beginning of some awesome stuff that could come to vehicles, especially with the use of these awesome ecosystems that we have on our smartphones. Apple is also introducing something called App Clicks that will make it easy for you to find any application you want, and you can use sign in with Apple Pay, and you can easily make use of these things to quickly get into applications and get whatever you want done really fast. The app clips are going to be really small in size, and it will enable you to have the right app at the right time. Those are some of the improvements to iOS 14 that Apple dropped, but there's a lot more. Next up, Apple unveiled what's new with iPadOS, and this time they're having some cool features that are coming to iPadOS along with the stuff that I mentioned with iOS 14 that are specially tweaked for the iPad. So features like improved applications and universal search will really enhance the experience on the iPad. Not only that, now with the Apple Pencil, if you really love using one, you can now scribble all over the place and make use of that text. And not only that, you can also copy paste whatever text you write with Apple Pencil now. So that's going to be something awesome for the iPad. Another crucial change that Apple is bringing to iPadOS and iOS 14 that is very simple but going to be very effective is the call screen is not going to take up the entire screen whenever the phone screen is on. So whenever you're doing something, it's not going to take up your entire screen. So if you don't want to see that call or get disturbed by that call, you can just swipe it away, or you can answer the call from that little pop-up that pops up at the top. So that's something really awesome. It's about time that Apple actually implemented this on iOS. Next up, Apple spoke about changes that are coming to AirPods with AirPods software, and they have some smaller tweaks that makes a big difference once again here. Apple announced automatic switching between iOS, Mac and iPad with AirPods, and that's something awesome that I've always wanted, because every time I use my AirPods, I hate connecting it to my Mac because you have to go through that long process, but on the iPhone you just have to open it and it just connects. So I'm really excited that automatic pairing is coming to the Mac, iPhone and iPad now. So every time I'm working on my Mac, it will get connected to that, and when I switch over to the phone, it will be connected to that. So that's something awesome. And spatial audio is also coming to AirPods Pro. So if you own a pair of AirPods Pros, then you're gonna really love it. If you are not sure about AirPods Pros, whether you should buy one or not, I'll have my review link down below in the description in case you want to check that out before you make your purchase decision. Next up, Apple announced WatchOS 7 with some awesome features that we have always been waiting for, like sleep tracking. So sleep tracking is finally coming to WatchOS 7. However, if you have been using a third-party application, you must have already been experiencing it. Just like me, I've been using my Apple Watch for sleep tracking ever since the day I actually got it with all the third-party applications. I even have a video on that. But now native sleep tracking is coming to the Apple Watch, and Apple is doing some awesome stuff here, especially with wind down mode to encourage you to get better sleep. And they are actually having taptic vibrations instead of alarm sounds in the morning. Little things that will actually improve your sleep. And also they are gonna turn off the always on screen whenever they detect that you're asleep. So that's also something that's really awesome that will save your battery life. I really want to test out and see how good or bad the battery life is going to be with this native sleep tracking on iOS 14 and WatchOS 7. So I want to really test it out. I'll test that out and let you guys know about that very soon. So stay tuned right here on Andro Dollar if you guys want to know whether this feature is going to be cool or not. Apple also announced improved complications that are going to be coming to the Apple Watch, and something that I really loved here is that Apple is now going to enable you to share your watch face. So you'll be able to share whatever watch face that you have with your friends, even using social media. So that's going to be really awesome for you to just get awesome customized watch faces onto your watch. And the best part is, if there is a complication that you don't have on your device, it will even suggest you to install whatever application that is, so that you have a seamless experience on your Apple Watch. Apple also announced dance workouts that are coming to the Activity app on the iPhone, and they actually renamed the Activity app from Activity to Fitness this time around. Staying in line with all the safety regulations these days, Apple also unveiled a hand wash mode to the Apple Watch. So every time you start washing your hand, this automatic hand wash mode will come through, and it will actually give you a countdown timer and motivate you to wash your hand in a good way. That's something really neat Apple is baking into watchOS 7. Apple is a company that is focusing a lot on privacy, so they actually announced their measures towards improving the privacy this time around with all of these new releases as well. And they actually announced that they are going to be allowing developers to enable users to use sign in with Apple even for existing accounts. So that's going to be something useful if you really want to keep using sign in with Apple for everything. Next up, Apple announced some awesome features that are coming to Apple Home, and they actually announced that they are in partnership with Google, Amazon, and a bunch more companies where they're going to be coming out with an alliance where we're going to see more products that are going to be compatible with all of these ecosystems. So that's going to be something really awesome, and they're going to support more doorbells and even smart video cameras and all of that. So it's going to be a really unified experience with the Apple Home experience, as well as they're going to tie in all of the ecosystems together. If you use a HomePod or if you use an Apple TV and your iPhone, all of these things will work together to give you a unified experience when it comes to the Apple Home. So if you have a smart home, you're going to love these new changes. Finally, Apple spoke about the update to macOS, and this time around the newest version of macOS is going to be called macOS Big Sur. I wouldn't blame you if you call it macOS BS, but it's actually not a BS OS because it actually has some pretty cool features. This time around with macOS BS, they're actually having a revamped user experience, and Apple is actually bringing Control Center to the Mac, and the icons have been changed slightly, and the overall user interface looks modern, and I'm loving it. Majority of the applications are getting updates, and Apple is tweaking how things are working even with the system tweaks, and even the menu bar is getting an update with macOS Big Sur. The controls are going to be more useful now, and because of the look of the Control Center now, it's going to be very easy for you to make use of it. And also they are updating the notification center, and now we are getting awesome widgets like on iOS 14 this time around with macOS Big Sur as well. So even these widgets will come in different sizes that you can customize and put in place. I hope Apple can take this a step further and let us just put these widgets on the home screen as well. Fingers crossed that that feature will be coming in an upcoming beta. Another important change coming to macOS is that Memoji is finally coming to macOS. So now you can have a unified experience. If you use a Mac, you can still use Memoji on your device. So that's pretty awesome. One of the major things that Apple revamped with macOS Big Sur is the improvements to Safari, and I think Safari has got one of the biggest updates ever with the features that Apple actually announced this time at WWDC. I think I might give Safari a try this time around after I get the final release of macOS Big Sur, because I think it's having some of those features that I always wanted. One of the main reasons why I always stayed away from Safari is because Safari doesn't really have all the extensions that I want that Google Chrome has. But now with Apple opening up the extensions library, and if I can get all those extensions that I use on Google Chrome with Safari with added privacy, that's going to be really awesome. So I'll update you guys about that in the future. I also like the fact that now Safari has a customizable start screen, and also the tabs and the preview, and how fast this browser is going to be will really improve the battery life and the performance of the system that I use, because Chrome sometimes uses too much of memory and power that it drains my battery. So I really want to give Safari a try this time around with macOS Big Sur and see how it goes. Finally, the last announcement Apple had was the biggest one, I think, is the move from Intel-based processors to Apple Silicon with the Mac. So that's going to be something really big for the future of computing and the future of Mac, because right now the problem is with Intel chips coming in, Apple doesn't really have control over it. how soon these updates come through, and they don't really have control over how much power these chips drain. So since Apple is able to produce some really powerful chips, they actually showed off what these new chips can do in a demo, and Apple was able to do some amazing stuff even with Final Cut Pro with just the processor that is being used on the iPad Pro. So that is how powerful the processor on the iPad Pro is. So now we are going to be able to get better processors from Apple that are more customized for these devices. This is going to be something that Apple is going to push out slowly. So in the future, whatever devices we get, Apple will have more control, and they will have more control over the release cycle as well as updates as well. And something that I really like is that Apple is going to keep supporting Intel based devices in the future as well. Hopefully they'll keep updating it for a while, and from day one there are going to be applications that are already going to be supported, like Final Cut as well as other Apple first party applications, and third party applications like Microsoft Office and our Adobe Suite applications are already ready to get launched with the Apple Silicon. Apple is also making it very easy for developers to update their applications to this with the announcement of Universal 2 along with Rosetta 2. And finally, to wrap everything up, the biggest announcement Apple made is that iOS and iPad applications are gonna be compatible with the Mac. So that's gonna be really awesome. So that means you can utilize all of these awesome applications that are available for the iPhone and iPad from that app store on your Mac. So imagine playing all those awesome games and utilizing all those awesome applications that you love on iOS on your Mac. So that's going to be something really awesome and something that I'm personally looking forward to. So I will keep you guys updated about all of those very soon. So those are some highlights of the major announcements that Apple dropped at WWDC 2020. The developer betas are going to be available starting today, and from July onwards the public betas for all of these will drop, and in the fall you can get the final versions of all of these software. So I'm really excited. I think this time around, after a very long time, Apple has really surprised me with the offerings that they are bringing here, not only with the iPhone but with watchOS and especially macOS. So I'm really excited to see, test out and see what changes that they bring in, and even for the developers they are bringing in some awesome tools. So I want to update Xcode and see what new things that they are bringing this time around. So let me know what you guys thought about the whole keynote, the way they presented it, and especially the features that Apple dropped with iOS 14, macOS Big Sur, watchOS 7 and so on and so forth. Go ahead and drop a comment down below and let me know your favorite thing. And if you have any questions, go ahead and drop a comment down below and let me know what other videos you guys want to see featuring any of these things. Maybe if you guys want to see any specific videos, I'll make that happen for you guys. Follow me on social media if you're not following me already for the behind the scenes and updates. I'm at Andro Dollar, and subscribe right now if you want to get the latest updates just like this. It's past 1 in the morning right now. I've been shooting this video non-stop just for you guys immediately after the keynote. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found this video useful, smash that like button and share this video with your friends, because that's gonna be really awesome. And with that, let's bring this video to a close. I'll bring you guys all the videos that you guys want. Let me know. Until I see you guys in my next video, this is Banu signing out.